Hi, in this lecture I will explain you what are the collections and give you a brief explanation for the different types of collections. As we already learned that composite data types have two different types mainly, records and collections. We said that records are just like a row in our table, a box that has many variables in it, but with only one row. We already learned what are records and how to use them. But generally, we need to have multiple rows to do our work. Right that time, we use collections. In a record, we can reach the variables in it with writing their names, but there is no next one. What I mean is, let's say we have a record of an employee. We can reach to the name of the employee or the salary or the others. But what if we want to pass to the next employee? At that time, we need to create another record for the next one. What if we need 100 or 1,000? Should we create 1,000 records for that? Of course not. Or what if we need to get the employees from a table? In this time, we may not know the number of the employees. Can we do that with using only records? We cannot. In this time, we need to use the collections. Unlike records, collections have a list of the same data types. If you already know another programming language, you must be familiar with the arrays. Arrays have multiple values with the same data types. Collections have better options, of course, but to solidify in your mind, you can think of arrays for the collections for now. But as I said, collections have different options than arrays in many languages. I mean, with collections, you can either store one type of data like character, date, etc., or store a record or another collection inside of a collection. Collections have three types mainly: nested tables, V-arrays, and associative arrays. They can have any type of PL/SQL variables, including composite data types. The collections can be considered as key value pairs. The key is a number or string values to specify the values. We can think of them as indexes. For example, let's think of the list of an employee. Let's say the employee IDs are the keys and the names are the values. We can reach the names with using the employee IDs, which means keys. We will see many examples about them. We said that we have three types of collections. They are very similar but with little differences. The differences are their key types and bounds. Actually, I explained a bit about this subject at the first lecture, but you will understand better now since you have learned the records. So let's explain them a bit one by one. Nested tables are lists that keys can have only numbers starting from 1. Unlike other programming languages, PL/SQL collections start from 1. Besides, nested tables are unbounded. You can add as many rows as you wish. When you add 1, the key increases by 1. You cannot specify the key. It automatically increases. The second one is V-arrays. V-arrays are very similar with the nested tables. The only difference is that they are bounded. You need to specify the exact size of V-arrays at the declaration and cannot change the size after the declaration. But be careful that they may take up some unused space. I mean, if you created a V-array size 100 of rows and you used only 80 of them, the space is still used as 100. So you used 20 values sized unnecessary space. So why should I use V-arrays while I can use nested tables instead? Sometimes we want the collections to have a certain bound because we send that object into a procedure or a function that is written by another programmer. We need to be sure that it will not cause some memory error in my program. So I simply sent V-arrays. But this is very rare usage. So you will not use V-arrays most of the times. You will use nested tables or associative arrays instead. But I needed to explain anyway. So the third type is associative arrays. This is the best, I think, because I can specify the value of the keys. Besides, the keys can be strings too. This is really useful and strong usage, and generally very suitable for real-life usage, because most of the times keys are important for you. For example, Generally, you use identity numbers as the keys because they are unique and meaningful. So we use identity numbers in our collections. This collection type is also unbounded too. I generally use that in my work, and I think you will use that too. The last thing about collections are using records in our collections. This is really useful because we generally use records and collections together. If I need to example it, we can think of a list of the employees. An employee has many information. We cannot create multiple collections for all the values. Instead, we use a record including all the information of the employee and store that record as one value inside of our collection. You will see many examples about that. For the last lecture of our composite data types lessons, you will learn how to use table operator to use all collection values in one step. So I think this is enough for the introduction. Next lectures you will see how to use them one by one. So this is the end of the lesson. See you in the next lessons.